Well, good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch, and today I'm off to another one of these cooking adventures. Going to try to make something with no idea how it's going to come out, but a hope that it will be one of the most delicious things that I ever made and adhere to our carnivore lifestyle. I'm going to use the Instant Pot. I've already sous vide in it. I've already pressure cooked in it. And the results of that pressure cook was a pretty tasty little meal yesterday where I ate some shredded chuck. And then if you'd watched that video, you realize that the center part of that chuck needed a little more time. So I pressure cooked it for another 30 minutes. And when it got done, I poured the contents of the Instant Pot into this and put it in the refrigerator. And as you can see, there's a nice layer of fat that floated to the top. And then under that fat, there's no liquid, is all what looks like gelatin. And rather than eat this, I thought, wow, wouldn't this just make a fabulous soup that I can test out the slow cooker part of the Instant Pot. So that's what this video is about. And to make it interesting, I said, let me brown up some ground beef, crumble it up and put it in there. And then, just as a lark, why don't I, maybe about an hour or an hour and a half before it's done, cut up a bunch of hot dogs. I originally thought smoked sausage, beef sausage, but I went to Aldi's, and of course they had none. They were out of it. They had a ton of turkey kielbasa. No thank you. So I bought some Nathan's hot dogs. They do have listed on the label 1 gram of carbs per hot dog. I don't think that's going to make any difference. If that does, leave the hot dogs out. But I think I'm probably going to put some butter in there as well. And I'm going to slow cook it on medium for 6 hours. It's going to have all of this, and this weighs a couple of pounds here. So this, a pound of ground beef, bunch of hot dogs, some butter, little salt. We're going to slow cook it. And I'm hoping for a meal later today that I can eat like I did out of a big bowl and float some pork rinds in it like croutons. And we'll see, because I'm going to let you follow me along all day long as I go step by step. So the first step we're going to do right now is we're going to brown the hamburger. Let this warm up a little bit. Hot dogs we'll use later. I don't want to put the hot dogs in right away because I don't want to overcook them. They're already cooked, and I don't want to make them into mush. So basically, they don't need to go in until the very end. So we're going to cut open this 1 pound of Sam's Club's, what they call grass-fed organic. Not a lot of fat in it, but that doesn't matter because in this dish we are going to have a lot of other fat things. And we're going to add some butter to it because we want to go for maximum fat. I'm going to salt the different ingredients as I put them in. Which should mean I won't need to add much salt to the actual soup that I'm making. So we'll let this get started to cook. And we'll come back and I'll chop that up, and then we'll get started in the Instant Pot slow cooking for 6 hours. What I hope is going to be a fabulous recipe and a delicious, healthy soup. All right, let's start breaking up the ground beef. The goal here is to cook the water out of it until it starts to brown. And that might take a little time, but we'll chop it up, and we'll keep chopping it up throughout the cook like this until we get some nicely brown ground beef to throw into our soup. I'm going to leave it a little chunky. Not going to chop it up into too fine, because I want there to be little chunks of burger in this soup. So we'll leave that cook, and when it's done and browned and the water's cooked out of it, we'll come back and start to assemble all the ingredients in the Instant Pot and start the slow cook. All right, the hamburger is nicely cooked. We're going to come over here to our Instant Pot. Remove the lid. In fact, I'll just take it off for right now, and we're going to go directly from this pan into the pot. We'll put the hamburger in there. Whatever grease or fat, although it's only an 85-15 burger, in the Instapot. And then we're going to take our chuck from yesterday, which is solid as a rock, and try to break it up so we can get it into the Instapot here. And I think we got it. It's no big deal. So we're going to put the contents. Look at that. Gelatin, fat, all that good stuff. Oh my God. Is this going to be good? Put that into the Instapot as well. And since this is going to be soup, we're going to have to add some liquid to it. So let's do that. And we'll start with 2 cups of water and see where that brings us to. Okay, we'll pour in 2 cups of water, and I think I'm going to go for another cup. And during the slow cook, we'll open it up and we'll stir it, and we'll see whether we need to. If it's too thick, we'll add a little more water. But for right now, I think 3 cups of water and all of that food. We're going to add the hot dogs. And don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if somehow, when I cook my breakfast here pretty soon, or my first meal of the day of bacon and eggs, that a couple of those, maybe a couple, 3 slices of that bacon after it's cooked, don't find a way to magically escape and end up in this stew. I hope this is going to be special. I hope. So let me turn this around here so you can see what I'm doing. We can see the control panel here. And although this is not a pressure cooking thing, we still want to cook with the lid on to leave the steam and the heat, whatever builds up in there. So we'll shut the lid. We're going to find the button that says slow cook. Well, there's one here that says soup broth. There's one that says slow cook. That's what we want. We're going to go 6 hours, and the temperature we want medium, and that's down here. And then we just basically want to say start, and that's all there is to it. So we'll come back from time to time and take a look at this thing. Okay, this thing has been slow cooking for about 2 hours already, and I'm going to take a look at it. Now, the nice thing about slow cooking, just like sous videing, is it's not under pressure, and you can open the lid at any time you'd like. So we'll take and set this lid down here and take a look and see how this is working out, and maybe stir it a little bit. We've got the hamburger in there, we've got the chuck in there, and so far it's starting to turn into something that resembles soup. So let's take a little taste of it and see how the saltiness is. Plenty of salt, plenty of salt. And I think I'm going to add another cup of water. Oh, it's got a nice flavor. I can feel some fat in it. But also, in addition to adding some water, I want to add some butter to this. I'm going to add some butter, just to add maybe a little buttery flavor to it, maybe a little. So I'll add a couple of half-inch pats of butter, and we'll let them melt, and in an hour or two I'll taste it again and decide if I need or maybe want to add some more butter. And at this time I'm also going to add another surprise. Bacon! I cooked some bacon up with my breakfast, and I'm going to chop this bacon up into little pieces and throw it in there to give it some bacon flavor. Because as everybody knows, there is no such thing as too much bacon. So we're going to have chuck roast, ground beef, butter, bacon, no eggs, and probably hot dogs thrown in here as well. So let's get us a big knife. Come over here and cut this bacon up into little strips. And we have bacon. And we threw the bacon in. And we'll stir this up, and the butter is melting. This, my friends, I think is gonna end up ranking right up there with the frittata recipe that turned out to be one of my best to date. Okay, I'm going to put another cup of water in it and stir it up real good. I'll make a considerable nice amount of soup here. Should give me plenty of leftovers. Put the lid back on to keep the heat in, and we'll be back at around the 2-hour mark. Well, cooking away, and we're down to 2 hours and 12 minutes on the timer. Close enough. Let's take a look. We'll take the top off of it, and we have soup. Wow. Smells great. look at all the meat in it. Holy mackerel. Look at that. We got bacon and burger, chuck, some butter. So let me taste it. Let me taste it here and see if I need to add some more water or maybe some more butter. Plenty of salt. So I'm good. It's a good thing I didn't add more salt other than what I had already put on the burger and the chuck. So the last couple hours of the cook, I'm going to put a couple of hot dogs in it. I don't know if this is going to make it or break it. I doubt it. We could hurt it, but just for fun, just for grins. Let's put, I don't know, each one of these hot dogs, and trying to find a hot dog without any kind of sugar in it is impossible anymore. These are Nathan's. I thought maybe that I would find a better one, and these only have 1 gram of carbs per hot dog, so I think that's inconsequential. Perfect. So let's put these in here. I can smell the garlic in those hot dogs. Well, that's good. That's good. That will add a little garlic to the mix, and maybe some subtle seasoning that's in the hot dogs does add a little visual interest to it. I'll put the lid back on. There it is, and in 2 hours, I'm going to eat some of this for dinner. We'll see you then. Well, we're down to 7 minutes. 7 minutes on the timer. And I'm going to get myself a bowl of this. It's time for my second meal of the day, and I've been looking forward to this. So let's remove the lid. I see all the little hot dogs are floating on the top. Let's stir it up and see what it looks like. Wow, look at that. Does that look good? Man, that looks fabulous. So let's get a bowl and scoop out some of this. Some of this beef soup. Wow, 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 look at this. For this very special occasion, I have lit a candle, got a placemat out, and the only thing left is to get some pork rinds to put in there, to float around in there like croutons. So we'll get some pork rinds in the bowl. I will taste this soup, which I think is a masterpiece. Look at that. It is delicious. I ended up adding 2 more cups of water to it as it cooked down, and I think that was perfect. You can feel it's got plenty of fat in it, all kinds of meat. It's got bacon in there, ground beef, hot dogs, chuck, no seasonings except for salt, and a little garlic that may have been in the hot dogs. Now we take some pork rinds and we float them on top. If you've got a slow cooker or an instant pot like this, and you don't make this, you have no idea what you're missing out on. This is, and I know my little frittata recipe is popular. This is right up there with that. Well, it's later now. I finished the dinner. It was great. I cleaned up everything. I took the leftovers, and I ended up with 3 quarts. This is a lot of food. Of soup. I put it in this container. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. I'm sure when it gets cold enough, there'll be a layer of fat on the top, gelatin on the bottom. Be able to scoop out a piece, heat it up, probably get 4 or 5 more meals out of this thing. One thing did happen. We must have sold Amazon out of these $75 Instant Pots like I got. Got a message from one of the viewers who said they went to it. Amazon was out of them, and maybe that's why they lowered the price down so much. So Amazon ran out of those things. That's a shame. Limited time deals mean limited time deals, I suppose. But I think for 99 bucks that upgraded model is still worth it. Not that big a difference. Does have the whisper quiet steam release. But it's up to you. It's up to you. I'll keep an eye out for deals on these things. That's for sure. So let me put my, God, it's heavy. Let me put my prize soup away in the refrigerator. I'm going to say good night to everybody and tell you to take the rest of the day off and eat meat.